Okay, we were sitting around a campfire last weekend. The flames were flickering, marshmallows on sticks, when Kayla said, I've got a scary story. Kayla, want to tell them what it was?
Well, once upon a time, there was an agent who didn't have a personal brand, and she spent her days cold calling, buying leads, and posting beautiful content that nobody remembered or paid attention to.
And the scariest part, she looked and sounded exactly like every other agent out there.
But good news, we're here to rewrite that ending. This November, we're hosting Camp Modern Agent, a 5-day challenge, and instead of campfire horror stories, we'll be building brands that make you stand out in your market as the go to agent.
Camp Modern Agent is for members and non members alike, and it's the place to be if you're ready for your community to say, oh, you need an agent. I know who you should call. And spoiler, it's you.
So, if you're tired of working so hard and still being overlooked and under referred, join us at Camp Modern Agent November 3rd through the 7th. All the details can be found at modernagentsocialclub.com/camp.
So leave your scary marketing stories for good and come build a memorable brand that leads to more referrals at Camp Modern Agent. Do a Facebook Live for 30 minutes. Like, can you imagine? Like,
No.
Reels and Instagram and Pinterest will have you believing everyone has a home edit style refrigerator, and that is not the case.
Not over here. Well, what will happen if you break the rules?
The little pumpkin demon will come and get you with his jagged sucker.
That escalated quickly. How do I get more leads?
How do I stand out in my market?
Is it unprofessional to talk about my kids on Instagram?
Should I have one account or two?
Do I really need a personal brand as a real estate agent?
We are the Modern Agent Marketing Girls. We are two agents turned marketing experts who believe you can become the go-to real estate girl in your market, all because you are you. I'm Chelsea Peterson, founder and CEO of Modern Agent Social Club.
And I'm Kayla Fox, Modern Agent's content creator. Let us be your guide as we talk about what it means to market your real estate business the modern way.
So refill your favorite beverage, open your notes app, and get ready to build a business and a brand you're obsessed with. Let's go. Hey, Kayla.
Hey, Chelsea. Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Agent Marketing Girls podcast. Happy Halloween week.
Happy Halloween. Today's going to get a little spooky
Ooh.
for some. What are your Halloween plans?
Well, usually we go trick-or-treating with the kids, and our whole neighborhood is like the destination for trick-or-treating in our area. So it is kids in costumes everywhere. Thankfully, I think all of my kids now know not to like run out onto the road, so it's not near as stressful. But yeah, it's like, I tell you what, when you take 4 kids trick-or-treating, you end up with enough candy to get you through like spring break. It's quite wild.
That's a lot of candy.
It's
How
a lot
many
of
houses
candy.
do you go to, do you say?
I mean, I won't lie. We usually hit up most of the neighborhood. At some point in time, the kids will hit up, like they'll find their friends, but we've got friends who live on the opposite side of our neighborhood. So we try to go to their house. So I would say we probably go to probably 40, 45 houses.
That's a lot
of houses. Yeah, that's a lot. What about you?
So I'm trying to petition. So we have like a smaller little cul-de-sac, and then there's like a courtyard in the middle and another one, and there's probably 20 houses-ish, but no one trick-or-treats here. Like, I think I've talked about this on the podcast before because I had such a cool trick-or-treat neighborhood in my old house, and I was like, wait, where did I just move? But I want to petition that we just have it here because I'm like, so everyone goes across the street to this bigger neighborhood that has like probably hundreds of houses. And so that's why we don't do it over here because they're like, all the kids want to go there and get like all the houses. But I'm like, don't little kids don't need more than 20 houses, do they?
No,
I don't know.
right?
So I'm like, can we just bring it back here? Because I don't want to go over there to the chaos at this point.
Right. And it's got to be fun being at home and handing out the candy.
That is
like,
fun. And having a bonfire and like having adult beverages if you want. And like that
We've
whole
never done it. We've always been out. But now a lot of our friends here have older kids. So that's what they do. Like they put the bonfire pit in their driveway and I have their family come over. And like that sounds like so much fun. But like I still have a lot of kids who want to trick or treat. So it'll probably be a few years till we get there.
I'm just going to do that anyways this year because we aren't going to last long. So I'm like, let's just go to a couple of houses and then come back and had the bonfire. There will be no trick-or-treaters, but I bought all this candy because I was thinking of my last house, and I'm like, well, it's probably going to be busy, and it wasn't. So how sad. Anyways, Halloween is Henry's birthday, so our trick-or-treat is the weekend before Halloween here. It's like always the Saturday prior to Halloween. So actual Halloween is a Friday, which is fun. I don't know what we're doing for his birthday yet, but his party is the next day on Saturday, and we're doing like a dino theme. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have all the Halloween decorations up, and then I'll have to take those down on Halloween night when he goes to bed to get ready for the dino party. And then I
Yes.
watched this movie at girls' night. We watched the movie called Trick or Treat. It's like Trick or Treat. And the whole movie is based on, have you seen it?
No.
Okay, it's from like 2007. The whole movie's based on like the rules of Halloween. And there's all these rules like always check your candy and you can't blow out your jack-o'-lanterns before November 1st. And you have to wear a costume. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I better stick to these rules. So I cannot undecorate Halloween until midnight
Well,
on the
what will
30th.
happen if you break the rules?
The little pumpkin demon will come and get you with his jagged sucker.
That escalated quickly.
So apparently my good friend, like, she's obsessed with scary movies and Halloween and all this stuff, and so she had girls' night and she picked it, which wasn't overly scary because I don't like super scary, but she's like, it's such a, like, classic Halloween movie because most scary movies have nothing to do with Halloween, they're just scary,
Right,
and this one
right.
was, like, literally about Halloween night, so I'm like, I gotta follow all these trick or treat rules now or Halloween rules, and I'm like, "Do you follow them?" And she's like, "No, and you'll be fine." I'm like, "Okay, then maybe I don't. Maybe I'll be." I'm not
The
willing
pu
to risk it,
the
okay?
pumpkin demon will not come haunt you.
Yes.
That's good.
So
That's good to know.
we won't get that scary today, but we are talking about some of our own rules when it comes to using social media. And we're just going to focus on one today based on just like feedback we've had, questions we've been getting asked, and knowing that it's this piece of advice we keep giving over and over and over. And that is dun dun dun.
Get your face on camera. Talk to the camera. And, there's been so many iterations of this over the years. Forever ago, when I had my own business, I used to, like, that was back when it was like you did all the lip syncing. So you found like a funny audio and then you did a lip sync and then you added like your own text to it, which was to me a very low barrier to entry to getting your face on camera and super easy. However, it didn't take long for that trend to like go away. And there's still some people that do it, but I don't know about you, but I don't pay any attention to those reels anymore because they're overdone, they're mass produced, everyone does them. So I don't know, you just don't pay attention after a while. But now, I mean, I just tell you, like, especially in the world of everyone's got access to beautiful graphics and everyone can make their feed look like anything that they want it to look like. And a lot of people, even if you look different or you look the same or whatever, the truth is all of it is just noise if you're not getting your face on camera, if you're not talking, if people don't know what you sound like, don't know what you look like, they can't get to know you in that way. We've used the example several times about how like you can't hire someone to go on a date for you and like really hit it off with someone. You have to do that work up front. And it doesn't have to be scary. See what I did there?
We're going to make it simple. And
Yes.
the cool thing is honestly, when I started my membership, video was like really getting popular. Like you couldn't not be on it. Even then, and that was like 2017, 2018. But what's so different is then it was more live video, like Facebook Live. And that was the angle. I mean, like when I started the membership, we had video scripts for Facebook Live videos. Like, that's how much this has changed. And what we're gonna tell you today, the cool thing is you don't need a formal script. Like, there are no crazy pumpkin demon rules here. Like, this is very, like, such a breath of fresh air how much it has shifted. But the point is someone needs to be able to see you to know that they can trust you and to know that they wanna work with you. And that's what's gonna set you apart. It's like the only thing really that's going to set you apart on social media is to have your face on camera and where they can hear your voice and see your beautiful face. And I wrote down this little note for you guys. So getting on camera is scary. It is. I remember my heart pounding before I would go live, like, and I would like pump myself up and like listen to music and take deep breaths and like it was fine. And that only happened, to be honest, like 3 times, and then I was over it. So you get over it real quick. But getting on camera is scary. But what's also scary is not letting people get to know you through social media and missing out on all the opportunities to connect with and serve them. And I think what this all comes down to, instead of focusing on ourselves and like, we have to be on video, we have to be performing or something, you're getting on video to serve your community. It is to serve other people. It's not about
Right.
you. It's like a lot of things, like we'll do, an open house and we hope we get leads from it, or we'll send postcards and we hope we get a lead from it. Everything we do, or everything, a lot of the real estate marketing tactics of the olden days are like, what do we get? But this is not about that. It's yes, you are going to get something out of it, but if you focus on that, it's not going to work quite as well. But if you focus on like, I'm doing this to serve my community and to connect with people and relationship build. I recently had someone say like, I need to do something besides social media so I can work on relationship building. And I'm like, if you're not using social media to build relationships, you are doing this all wrong. Like that is like
Yeah.
the first and foremost thing that should be happening here. And one of the easiest ways to do it is just for someone to be able to see your face. So
Yeah.
it brings everything together. And if you can look at it as I'm doing this to serve someone, I'm like, this is my a service that I'm doing, it's going to pay you back so much. Like, what is that book? Well, Gary Vaynerchuk always said like serve, 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 sell. Basically was his whole thing, like jab, 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 right hook. But then there's the Go Giver. The Go Giver.
I
What
haven't
is
heard
the
of that one.
quote? Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's basically about serving. I'm just gonna Google this really quick. Okay, here. The Go Giver quotes, your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so
Like that
good.
should be the root of your real estate business. And anyone's business should be that should be the root. How much you serve, how much you give in value versus how much you take in payment.
Yeah. I think that you hit the nail on the head there because I think we're getting in our own way when we are thinking about what we look like on camera, what we're going to say, if we're going to sound stupid, what our community is going to think. When we think about all of those things, we are stopping ourselves from stepping into like the role that we were meant to do. You know what I mean? Like we were meant to serve people. We were meant to serve our community. And when we're just thinking of ourselves, we miss those opportunities and that's not what we want. What would you say though? Because the truth is, like, it can feel intimidating to get on camera. And like to the person who's listening, who's like, I really don't like how I look on camera, or I'm really trying to lose weight right now, or my camera isn't very good. Like any of those things. Like, what would you say to them if they're just still sitting there struggling?
This is something I've heard probably over 10 years ago, but would you not go to a listing appointment because you want to lose weight first, or
Mm-hmm.
because you don't like how your voice sounds, or because you don't like what you look like, or because you don't have a cute outfit? Like you're going to go to the listing appointment. Many people on the other side of this podcast are sitting there thinking like, I wish I had a listing appointment to go to.
Yeah.
And if you wanna have that listing appointment to go to, this is like your pre-listing appointment. It's just like how we've said for years and years and years, not us, the industry, your
Mm-hmm.
first showing of a house is online. So that's why photos matter. Your first listing appointment or your first meeting with a client is now online. So if they can't get a feel for what that's gonna be like, then they're gonna scroll right past you. And you're
Yeah.
not gonna be getting the leads from Instagram like other people that you may know or follow or see having a really good amount of success with how they use social media. So I think looking at it that way is like I wouldn't not show up in person, then we need to treat that as our first meeting, our first meet and greet,
100%.
our first place that we're gonna say, like, hey, how are you? I'm Chelsea. Like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Chelsea. Like, I want you to like think of it that way. Like you are literally going on to like meet people and to
Yeah.
connect and to talk like a normal human, not a robot, not a billboard, not a brochure, not a graphic. Like you're there to talk like a human. Actually, in last week's episode, if you missed it, I highly encourage you to listen to it. It's all about the words that we're using and what we say in our content. And that pairs really, really well with what to say on camera too. So I would definitely pair these two episodes together and it makes it a lot less scary because there's a lot of
Yeah.
good tips in there that are going to help you look at social media and getting on camera as more of that like handshake feel and that I'm just talking to a friend. In fact, like right before we got on here, I was waiting for you to hop on, Kayla, and I opened my Instagram stories and we had our podcast, we had a new podcast episode come out today. Or wait, this isn't last week's episode.
I was gonna say, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Last
So
week's was
it's
the signature
episode 42.
series. Yeah. Yeah.
Episode 42 is the one that pairs with today's episode.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep calling today's episode last week as if it's been a week.
I know.
Gosh, who knows?
The time mumbles. Okay.
Anyways, while I was waiting for you to join the video, Kayla, I opened my Instagram stories and I wanted to talk about the episode that came out today. And I just like opened my camera and I was like, hey, like, and I literally acted as if I was just like talking on the phone. Like, if someone overheard me, they probably would have thought I was on the phone,
Yeah.
not scripting out a like message for my followers. Like, that's another shift in your head is like, don't think of it as like I need to put together this video message for all of my followers. Just record your video and yourself talking as if there's just your friend on the other side or one person on the other side.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. You have to think about what we're actually saying on camera, right? Because it's not just about like, oh yeah, I got your face on camera, but like anyone can put the camera on their face. But what are they actually saying when they're doing that? So we tell our members like you can take any caption or any like carousel and you can kind of turn that into like, hey, I'm just going to talk about this one topic or I'm going to pull this one quote from that and whatever. But I think one of the easiest ways to start this is to literally just like share something about your day or share something like a client just asked me this, or here's something that I'm hearing a lot, or I just saw this article and it said something like this. Like you've even told our members before, like read a little bit of a business book in the morning and then just like share one takeaway. Like having something kind of specific to share that's kind of short and concise, but also like gets you talking freely like yourself instead of being like, and another thing is, kind of like reading off your phone. That's such a great way to get started. There's a point, right? It's not like you're just aimlessly being like, I don't know what I'm gonna do today, but like you're not saying that, but you're just saying like, hey, this is what just happened, and I can't wait to share it with you. And then share a little something. I mean, we're talking. You can start this in your stories and talk for 15 seconds, and boom, like you've done it. Like we need to remove all of the pressure to, like what you said, pressure to perform, but also we need to remove this like expectation that like I'm going to sit down to record my reel. Like, if this is not a performance anymore. This is literally like, grab your phone. I can't wait to share this with you. I got to run. See ya. Like, it's so simple.
I love the business book idea because that also takes pressure off of you of coming up with something to say. Like, I feel like sometimes we don't know what to say because we think we need something profound or really amazing or this really cool story. We don't always need a cool story or a profound anything. Like, it's just simply sharing what we're doing or what we read or what we heard on a podcast or what we learned.
Yeah.
And, like, for example, if you have like motherhood as part of your brand, it could be sharing, like, I just figured out this hack today.
Yeah.
In fact, you were just telling me before we started recording that your dog tried to get the delivery person and that
I
your
know.
hack is to turn the car on because he'll jump in
Yes.
right away. And I said, like, what's your hack for kids like that? Or I wish there was a hack for kids like that. And she's like, there is. It's called candy. So
Right?
like just
Come
some
here, children.
just some like fun random takeaway that happened. And like I think the goal with this is we're going to talk about the logistics of how you can get started or some different ways you could approach this. But first and foremost, needing to know that this doesn't need to be a highly produced video or a produced at all video. It's using the camera on your phone or on your Instagram story app or on your Instagram app with your stories or a reel. It's not this like, I'm going to get this camera out or hire a production company or hire someone. Do people do that? Can you do that? Sure. But honestly, right now on social media, that's not even performing well. What's performing well is just authentic, regular videos. And that's why I said this is so much easier than it was in 2018 and 2017 when it was like,
Yeah.
do a Facebook Live for 30 minutes. Like, can you imagine? Like,
No.
you don't need to do that.
Speaking of which, can we start with stories and just like, let's name like 5 or 6 things that people could do today to stay on their stories for the sake of getting their face on camera, or like just a trade off, right? Because I think one of the first things, like we'll tell people like, hey, one easy way to start your stories is to like share a photo from your morning and just share like 3 things that you're doing that day, which is a fantastic way to start your stories, especially if you haven't showered yet, if you're not done getting ready, if whatever, like fantastic. However, that next story can simply be you hopping on your phone, either when like you're first getting in the car to run to an appointment, or maybe you're like getting your morning coffee around and you're just standing in your kitchen or whatever. And maybe just like share one little bit about one of those 3 things that you're doing. So if one of those things is like showing a house in Westchester today, then when you hop on, you can be like, okay, the thing I'm actually looking forward to the most is they've got the best coffee shop there. Has anyone been to this place? Like, so good. I can't decide what to order though. Should I order this or that? That took me less than 10 seconds to say. And I'm sorry, you would get so many DMs and so many like people love sharing their opinions. And guess what? That's all you have to do on your stories for that day. That's 15 seconds, and that's going to carry you through 24 hours.
A lender that I know, we're friends on Facebook and my husband golfs with him, and he just put in his Facebook recently and said like if you could only eat at one restaurant in Lake Country for the rest of your life, what would you pick? And he had like tons of
Yeah.
comments. This was like a post, so I could see it. But like, it could be that simple in your stories. Like, hey, I'm getting a closing gift for a client. They just moved here. If you could only eat at one restaurant in this area for the rest of your life, what would it be? So I can decide what
Yeah.
gift card to
Get
get.
him a gift card. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, talk about having conversations, getting your face on camera. It's such a low barrier to entry
Yeah.
to getting on camera in a way that's going to build the relationships. Like, that takes nothing, and it's not performative, and it's not serious. Like, I think we need to be willing to get like kind of deeply unserious with ourselves. Like,
Yes.
to be able to show up seriously, because we take everything sometimes too seriously. Like, well, what should I use to edit that? And what app should I use? And what device should I use? You don't need any device.
Yeah.
You don't
What
need any,
filter? What?
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need anything. Like, that will come. That will come with time, but it's like trying to decorate the house before you even poured the foundation. Like, there's nothing
Right.
to decorate yet, right? So you need to first just get going. And like, this is like, a story is like your fast track to
Yeah.
getting this to be way less intimidating and way less, I just don't like, insert all your excuses. Like, stories are the best way to do it because they disappear. Like, it's so easy. And I know it's easy for us because we do it, but we were all there at one point in the
Yeah.
very beginning of this too.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I love that idea for stories. Another thing that I think is really, really helpful is to pick a day in your calendar. You don't need to make it a public announcement, but just say like, okay, on Wednesdays, maybe on Wednesdays, I usually like go to the gym and then I'm home and I get ready, and I'm always ready on Wednesday morning because
Yeah.
for whatever reason, however your schedule looks. So I'm going to make Wednesday morning after the gym and after I get my coffee, the time that I'm going to just pop on my stories and share one thing from about my day, or one takeaway from the audiobook I just listened to, or one takeaway from the podcast I had playing while I was
Yep.
on the treadmill or whatever. Like, and you make it like a thing.
Yeah.
And like, you may make something a thing without even realizing it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
if you're someone who listens to a podcast every day, or you read 10 pages of a business book every morning, these are modern agent standards, by the way. If you do those things, then you're always going to have something to say. And you could even
Yeah.
make it like, today's takeaway is ...
Right.
And sometimes if you did a daily is a lot, but if you did do a daily thing, you don't always need to get your face on camera. It could be like
No.
text on the screen, but one of the days, talk about like, out of the last week, this is my favorite podcast I listened to because ... Or
Yep.
if I had to only recommend one of these books, it would be this one, Like, there's always something to share. It's like,
Yeah.
just thinking of if you're at I should always say if you're at an event. Who goes to all these events? Not me. If you are out with friends, what comes up in normal conversation, right? Like, just everyday things like, hey, how was Mason's baseball game? How was
Yeah.
Levi's last football game? When are you guys going to Florida next? Like, just normal stuff. And that's like
Yeah.
what these stories should feel like. They don't need to be like teaching every aspect about buying or selling a house. It could just be a simple takeaway. So, which brings us to another idea for what to share in your stories is, if you just met with a client today, or you had a showing or a buyer appointment or anything, I guarantee you have quite a bit of content that you could just take one thing and talk about
Yeah.
it on your stories.
Yeah. And you can do this, like, even if you're like, let's say you're out and about and you've got like 3 or 4 houses to share, you're probably not always going to have time to take out your camera, take video clip. Like, you want to focus on your client, right? But one thing that you could do is, after, let's say something was unique about a house and you're like getting in the car to go to the next one, you literally can like be getting in the car and be like, okay, I'm putting my seatbelt on, but I just showed this house and this one was actually really cute. But something funny that they had in their basement, they had this picture of, like, just something simple that like people think that's like interesting. Like, oh yeah, you probably do see a lot of funny stuff in people's houses, or you probably do notice things like, oh, I probably have that in my house too. Like, whatever it is. But like, again, it can be a 10-second thing of you saying something to the camera. And I think a lot of times when you're sharing in the moment like that, that really is the thing that makes people lean in. It's like the psychology behind, like, you'll see a lot of people as you're scrolling, you'll see a lot of people still adjusting their phone as they start to talk and start to share on a reel. And it's because it makes it feel like more urgent and more like, oh, what's happening that she has to tell me
Like,
this
I have
right
to tell
now.
you something real quick. And I'm gonna,
Yes.
like, it feel like you just said that about the basement picture. I'm like, what did they have in their basement? But you
I
made
don't
that
know.
up.
I just made it up.
But like, seriously, like, that's how
Yeah.
it feels to the person on the other side. And that's,
Yeah.
we don't always need to have, it doesn't need to be real estate related necessarily. It could be if you take one thing a week and you decide to go in the moment. I love the idea too of just doing it in your car, because you're in your
Yes.
car anyways.
Right. No
Like,
one else is with you. Your client doesn't feel like you're not paying attention to them.
you can wear sunglasses if you want. Like,
Yeah.
the lighting's really good. like, a car is like a no excuse starter. Like, start
Yep.
there because you can eliminate half of what you like, "Well, my house isn't put together." I saw a
Right.
reel once where the girl was like this in front of the camera, like, way up close, and she's like, "Do you know why I'm doing this? Because my house is a mess behind me, but you can't see it, and I'm still on camera."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, exactly." Like,
Yeah.
there's always a workaround, unless you want to give yourself the excuse, right? Like, there is always an excuse too. But that's where it goes back to, like, by doing that, you're serving other people because they're then seeing you as the go-to, and, like, they're
Yeah.
gonna start to know, like, through you is how I can get to my dream home, or through you is how I can invest in real estate, through you is how I'm gonna learn how to stage my home, or whatever they are wondering or are going to wonder eventually someday. I have this quote from Macy McNeely. She said, "While you stay scared to sell," so you could even say, "While you stay scared to get on camera, there is someone praying for what you have to offer." Read that again. "While you stay scared to sell, there's someone praying for what you have to offer." So get up, move your body, get ready, and sell. Someone's future depends on it. And I
Yeah.
love the end. Someone's future depends on it. Like, again, this is not thinking about ourselves so much. It's thinking about, who are we serving? Who are we helping invest in real estate? Who are we helping get their house sold for the most money
Yeah.
possible so they can pay for their kids' college, or what people have all different kinds of goals. And it's digging into what those things are to know how we can get ourselves on camera and talk about, you don't talk about
Yeah.
their goals, but you can more relate to them, or that what you're saying can resonate when you are clear on those things about your ideal client, which we talked about in that episode 42. So,
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I love about starting with face on camera in stories is that's such an easy way to showcase your personal brand. You don't have to talk about real estate all the time in your stories. In fact, you definitely should not. And I think about sometimes like some of the best, like the highest views or the most engagement that I had or whatever with a story, none of them have been related to my job, but they've all been like something either like comical that has happened in the moment. Like I think I might have shared on the podcast a couple like weeks ago when Summer I Turned Pretty was still on, and I've like joked with Brett and was like, "Hey, the episode's about to start. Would you like me to wait for you?" And instead of him being like, "Yeah, whatever," he was like, "I'm almost done." And I was like, I got on my phone and I was like, "I think he wants to watch it." Like I got more DMs about that. Several years ago, we planned a trip to Florida, and we were 1 hour away from our Airbnb, and I got a notification that I just received a refund because my place was not ready. And here, the entire building was still under construction. Like there was literally like no place for us to go, and I had booked this trip for my entire family. So I got on and I was like, I don't even know what to do right now. I've got a bunch of kids in my back seat. I don't know if we're gonna have a play. I go spring. It was just a whole thing. I mean, I'm talking thousands and thousands. I might have gotten more story views than I even did like followers at that time because so many people were like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" But like just sharing what's real, what was going on in the moment, like people were invested. You know what I mean? And yes, you're not going to have like, hopefully you never experience that, but you're not going to always have like this like grand thing or something that's happened. But when you can just share something real and in the moment and very human like that, people connect with that and people engage with that. And not only that, but then when you go to the grocery store, when you go to church, when you go to car pickup or whatever, people are going to be like, "Hey, whatever happened with that?" Or like, "That was so funny. Like we were laughing." Or, "Hey, how'd Brett like that episode?" Like those are the things that get you talking to people in real life. And then when that same person then goes to work and someone's like, "I don't know, I kind of want to move," they're going to be like, "You should talk to my friend. Like she just shared this." You're like, that's the psychology. It's how the whole thing ties together. It's like this, it's the circle of life in marketing world.
it's a circle of marketing.
Yes.
That brings up another idea, is one of the best things you can do to get that engagement coming back is just to ask an opinion. And this could be a million ways. One that gets tons of responses for me, which when you get responses to your story view goes up, which I know we're not really
Yes.
talking about analytics, but it does. And so when I ask like, "Hey, what should I read?" And like, I'll give 3 options, and then people will like, yes, I sometimes put a poll, but also people will just respond to me directly and be like, "I love this one," or "I'm reading that right now," or "This one's kind of slow," or whatever. And it's just like so simple. It's something I talk about anyways, and it gets people having conversations with me. So that's
Yeah.
another like really easy one, but you could even turn this into real estate. So as you were talking, I had the idea, like, if you were at your listing and you're like, "Okay, my sellers are considering like painting the kitchen. Like, do you think
Yeah.
they should, yes or no? Or would you rather see the outside color this color or that color, like,
Yeah.
or the front door, or like, and I know this won't work for every listing because sometimes you're getting there right as they're about to list. But if you're working with someone who's like kind of prepping things and you're like, hey, let me ask my followers, I'm going to have hundreds of people respond. Do you want their feedback? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
imagine being able to tell your seller that too. That's
Yeah.
such a powerful thing to add on as like a service that you offer. Like, hey, let me get their feedback, or let me put it, this is going further off of face on camera. Let me put it in my email this week. Like, should my seller
Yeah.
paint their door black or white? Or like, so ask an opinion. That's such, people also love giving their opinion.
Yeah. Oh
They're
my
like,
gosh.
do you like the summer? Nothing, I will never get more responses than when someone doesn't like what I'm watching or whatever.
Yes.
Like watching Love Island, I could never watch that show, blah, blah. Like, it's so funny. You know
And
what
you're
I
like,
mean? Like,
thank you for
so
your engagement. You're helping
yes, but
me.
it's just,
Yeah.
it will always bring out the people who are like in disagreement of it.
Yep.
So like, or I love Gilmore Girls. I couldn't get into it
Right.
every time.
That is awesome. Okay, so that is like stories, which again, I think that's a great place for people to start because they expire, they're quick, there's a lot of low expectations. But of course, when you're posting to your feed, when you're posting some kind of like reel or whatever, that's a little bit more permanent. So that can feel a little bit more intimidating. So, how would you suggest they start? Like, what's an easy way to get started with that?
I have 2 options. I don't know if this is where you were going in your head, but this is maybe what I would do before I'm like face and voice. Is one would be getting B-roll of yourself. So like you're in it. You're walking into your kitchen, you're getting out of your car, you're walking up to a house, you're just in your kitchen
Yeah.
cooking or pouring a glass of wine. You're in the B-roll, and then the audio over the top could be a voiceover with you talking. So maybe in that voiceover, you're sharing like whether it's a day in the lifestyle, what you're doing, or you're sharing advice, or you're sharing something inspiring, whatever. It's your voice, but your body and yourself is still in the video. So that's one combo that's kind of like a good starting point that doesn't require you like facing the camera to talk.
Yeah.
Would you say anything else about like getting started? Is that
Yeah,
how you would
no,
start?
I think that's a really great place to start. And, especially, I think a lot of people will do B-roll all the time, and I still feel that disconnect, but it's better than having nothing, right? And so I think that's like another low barrier to entry. I think the voiceovers are awesome because like you can honestly, and I've done this before too. When you do a voice for over, you can literally like write down what you're gonna say and just like read it as you're talking. And it gives you a little bit more like the I don't know, you could
Focused?
yeah, but also, like, you have some leeway there to, like, talk the way that you actually would talk. It's kind of like I always think of, like, Chandler Bing, how he emphasized, like, the wrong words, but, like, sometimes I kinda talk like that too, but then when
Chandler
I'm like
Bing.
yes, but if I feel like I need to, like, talk formally, then I don't do that as much, but if I'm just reading something or whatever, like, I can talk the way that I actually would talk. So that gives
It's
people a
not
good way
talking
to get to
like
know you.
ChatGPT. I just saw this
Oh my
post
gosh,
last night,
yes.
and it was like how to know if your content is written by ChatGPT, and I kinda wanna, like, send it to our members. Not
Yeah,
just as, like, red flagged other anyone else you may be looking
right.
for.
Ours is
Anyways,
not. Yes.
yeah, ours is not, but what it said was, like, ChatGPT writes like a robot, and it does,
Yeah.
like, there's no, like, OMG or, like, love it or geez or, like, those little,
Right.
like, when you're actually talking out loud, you say things that sound like a human that when you go to write
Yes.
something, it kinda can sound robotic, so we don't want, like, your voiceover to sound like a robot, so, like, it's one of the tips she gave was, like, you don't it sounds robotic when it's written so perfectly and formally,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have those random words thrown in, you know? So anyway,
Right.
just keeping your voiceover more animated. Animated is kind of a good word, like, and as if you're actually talking to someone, animated, and not like you're reading the script. So, like,
Right.
making sure it's conversational sounding. And honestly, if you read something and you listen to it back, you're gonna know right away if it sounds like you're reading it and it's formal or if it sounds like how you talk. You're gonna know.
Right. Yeah. Like, and what we're talking about, like, even like I'm thinking, like, I'll say something like, anyway, like, what, like, let's move on or whatever. But like, Chat GPT would be like, another point is, or here's
Yeah.
something else I would like to include in this statement or whatever. So, yeah, you just being able to talk how you actually talk, I think is important. So, I think that's totally great. But then when it comes to actually being like, okay, I know I actually need to say something to the camera, first of all, what's something that they could share? And what's like an easy like how to make them feel the most comfortable. And I think my first suggestion with that is to like pick your place. Like what you said, like with the car. The car, if you're gonna have good lighting, your skin's gonna look the best in the car, all those things. And that's really on brand for an agent because how much time do agents spend in the car anyway, driving around everywhere? But if it's not that for you, like it could be your office or it could be your porch or it could be your favorite chair or wherever, but like some place where like you just feel comfortable. It does not mean you need to film there all the time, but the idea is to build something that's a little bit recognizable so that like like I always think like with my like Dalmatian wall behind me, like no one else has that. Like people recognize that as mine, you know what I mean? It's just an easy place to stand and I might get sick of looking at it, but like I know it's doing its job, right? Picking your place. But yeah, what else could we tell them to help them just stay comfortable in front of the camera?
I love holding something in my hands because it gives your hand something to do. So holding a beverage that you love, like just a cup of coffee, or even if you're like pouring it.
Yeah.
The other day I recorded, this was stories, but it could be I actually turned it into a reel. So it could be either I was like unpacking my groceries out of a bag as I was talking because it just gave me something to do. And that also adds visual interest so that it's not just like a talking head. And
Mhm.
it feels like, oh, I'm in your kitchen with you right now. Like it just has a different you look at it differently than like you're not looking at it like she's gonna like teach me something right now.
Right.
You're kind of just like, oh, what is she gonna say? Like as she's getting her groceries out in her kitchen. So
Yes.
having something to do with your hands helps a ton. And even if like you already have your coffee, just holding it. And like if you talk
Mhm.
with your hands, do it on camera. That's
Yeah.
totally fine because that feels more natural. And then if you have something with a straw, you could like stir it at the beginning. I mean, like anything that's going to keep your hands occupied will make you feel more comfortable. And that I think will automatically make you talk more natural. You heard we're basically hosting the real estate version of Camp Walden, right?
Yep, you bring the peanut butter and Oreos, and we'll bring the tools you need to get crystal clear on your personal brand so that you can stop blending in and get more referrals from your content.
Does that sound like a dream? Because it doesn't have to be. Kayla and I will be your camp counselors, walking you through every step of the way. And it's all happening at Camp Modern Agent, a live 5-day challenge from November 3rd through the 7th. And it's for members and non-members alike.
We're showing you how to finally get clear on your personal brand, stand out, and sell more houses by showing up on Instagram with magnetic content instead of feeling lost in the woods without a compass.
By the end of the 5 days, you will have clarity around what you want your personal brand to be. You'll know exactly what makes you stand out. You'll have a repeatable plan for content that feels like you and not random. You'll be able to define why someone should follow you on Instagram, and you'll have a filter that you run your content through so everything feels cohesive.
So if you're ready for a brand that feels elevated and to finally stand out in your market, go save your spot at modernagentsocialclub.com/camp. Spots are limited.
And we'll meet you at the virtual campfire.
And all of those things give people another reason to watch, especially all the way through. So if they're like, what is she unpacked? Like, what did she get at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or whatever? Or what is she actually stirring there? Where did she get that straw? Like, we think these things and I don't know, like sometimes I think like, what is wrong with me? Did I just spend 5 minutes watching someone's reel 3 times because I wanted to see like what else they got in their grocery bag? But yeah, and honestly, like that's a really funny thing for me. I always say that. I'm like fascinated with what people have in their refrigerators because I feel
Me
like I
too.
buy food all the time and yet we're always out of food. I'm like, what is in your refrigerator that it's so full? I need to see everything. So if someone opens up their fridge as they're talking, I'm like, I'm pausing, I'm zooming, I'm so curious.
I always feel very validated too when like that happens and their fridge is not perfectly organized like Pinterest
Yes.
because most people's aren't. But Reels and Instagram and Pinterest will have you believing everyone has a home edit style refrigerator, and that is not the
Nope.
case.
Not over here. We're like trying to make sure something doesn't fall as we're trying to close it. We're like, just
Exactly. I know
put it
my
back in there.
mother-in-law, whenever she comes here, this is like I have like this stigma now. She'll be like, "You guys just have so much food," and I'm like, I don't really have that much food. Like I don't eat a lot of leftovers really. So I'm like, there's always leftovers in there. I feel like then we cook another meal. And
Yeah.
that's also because of Henry. But like I have this like thing now, like I think I have too much food in my fridge, but it's just like we save our leftovers. And like her and my father-in-law probably don't cook a ton because it's just the two of them.
Right.
It's just like different. So anyways,
Yeah. Do you want to know a confession? We've got so many refrigerators. I mean, we're from the Midwest, right? And so we have like the garage refrigerator, of course, which then we also
That's like
have.
a point of adulthood. Like, when you get a garage
Yes.
refrigerator, you are officially an adult
Yes, the
to
garage
me.
refrigerator, the deep freeze, plus now we have a basement refrigerator. And I'm telling you, like, somehow they're all full, and yet we still don't have food to eat, and I still gotta buy
Yeah.
groceries. So,
I think maybe it has something to do with I should get better at knowing what to put together. The other
yeah,
day
I have no plan.
I have no plan. The other
Yeah,
day I asked ChatGPT, I said, "I have these ingredients. What can I make?" And I don't want it to be basic. Like, I was like, "Don't give me like tacos. I know I can make tacos. Give me
yeah.
something else." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this thing is brilliant." And it gave me a bunch of ideas.
That's hilarious. See, now this might feel like a random tangent, but I want you guys to listen to this and then think to yourself, how many refrigerators do I have? And honestly, you could hop on your stories or you could get on your, reels or whatever and be like, okay, be honest. How many refrigerators do you have? I'm sorry, that's gonna spark conversation. Like it's gonna work. And that's kind of real estate related, right?
Is this
Like
just a Midwest thing or is it just me?
right. Yes. Yeah. Our southern friends or our western friends are like, you guys are weird.
They don't even have basements in the South. Like, where do you keep all your beverages
I know.
and your
Yeah, yeah,
extra boxes of waffles?
I know. Well, and Midwest thing too in the winter, putting our like drinks on the porch because that's where they're gonna get cold. You guys do that too? Yeah,
Mhm.
the whole
Yep.
thing. We don't have to as much now because we have another refrigerator. Anyway,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I Okay, so what this all comes down to though is it's kind of off the cuff. Like, what we're saying, a lot of what we're saying, not so much if you're doing a reel, but if you're doing the stories and you have I want you to pick just one day a week. Like, that's not that much to commit to. One day a week that you're going to go on your stories. They are off the cuff, but that should feel like a relief. And if it feels like, well, I work better if I have an exact plan A to Z, then I want you to start an app, like a notes app in your phone, and start writing things like literally once a day. I want one thing added to that note app. And it could be a question a client asked you, something that came through in an email, a learning moment where you're like, oh, shoot, I should have told them that. Or it could be
yeah,
something from your house, like a movie you watched that you loved, or a movie you watched that you didn't love, or like the Brewers are in the playoffs right now. If you are also in the playoffs, talk about that. Like, what else can you talk about that feels, it does feel off the cuff, but that feels comfortable and familiar and that people can come to expect, like, what's she gonna talk about this week? And you can get to a point, like we kind of mentioned earlier, where you theme that a little bit. Like, I always share a takeaway from a book. I always share about a showing. I always share about what I'm watching or a client question or an FAQ or something. But like right now, don't worry about that. Right now, just worry about like showing up. And then you can kind of see what your audience gravitates towards. And that's going to help you lean in. And while we're here, I believe it would have been last week's episode is about coming up with the signature
yeah,
series. So that's going to kind of help more with that if you want to go back to last week. And then the second part to that is we are just days away from hosting Camp Modern Agent, which is our free 5-day personal brand building challenge. And this is going to help you get that consistency with, okay, what do I want to talk about? Like, it's going to help you get clear on that part. So if you're like, okay, I love this, I want to get more crystal clear on it. I'm not necessarily afraid to get on camera. I just want to have more of like cohesiveness into what I talk about.
yeah.
That's going to be something you're going to want to join. So if you go to Modern Agent Social Club /camp, you can sign up. It's totally free. It's 5 days of live trainings with Kayla and I, your camp counselors, and we are so excited.
I am so excited about that too. That'll be so good. We talked about like what's more scary than getting on camera. And I think we've mentioned a lot of things, but I think what it all boils down to is like it's scary to work so hard on content or to have a social media manager or to, even pay for a membership and all of those things and yet still be forgettable. Like if you are not putting your face out there, if you're not putting your voice out there, if you're not talking to the camera in some capacity, people are going to forget you. Like your graphics are going to look just like everybody else's, even if they're quote unquote different or on brand to you. That's the last thing that we want. Like the last thing that we want is for you to spend 5 minutes on a piece of content that people are going to like scroll right by and not even pay attention to. And I know like we've all been there, right? Like we've all like worked really hard on something. Like, gosh, there were days when I used to like spend hours on a carousel being like, okay, this is it. Like, this is the one. And then you post it and it's nothing. But if I would basically like take that same concept and just hop on my phone real quick and say the same thing, so much more interaction, so much more feedback. And not that there's not a place for the graphics. I think some people, you need both really. And that maybe that's a good challenge. Maybe a good challenge would be like, look in like the last like month or two of the content that you've shared, look at what has done the best, or look at what topic you're like, I actually want to share more about this, or this is really important to me. I really liked this piece, but I don't know what else to do with it. Maybe take that carousel post that you created and turn it into a reel. Like literally like put a few sticky notes on your computer screen of like things you want to talk about, then hop on your phone and say it. And you don't have to say it perfectly. It's okay if you stumble over your words. Like it's okay if I mean, honestly, I think sometimes that makes you look more human. It makes people feel like, oh yeah, like I talk like that sometimes too, or like she's not perfect, or this isn't just like a pitch. You know what I mean? But it's actually like someone talking to me in real life. Start there and play with it a little bit, and you're gonna feel like you're fumbling around a lot the first couple of times that you do it. But like you said, like with just a little bit of time, it doesn't take long. With just a little bit of time, you gain a lot of confidence.
And I still have days where things like don't flow as quickly, and some days where like it comes out really easily, and that's just the nature of life and how much sleep you got because of a
Right.
toddler or
Right.
something. I don't know. Sticky notes. I'm glad you said that. I had that written down actually. The word sticky notes. I love using a sticky note for that type of stuff because I don't want a whole script because that does like make you robotic. But if you
Yeah.
just have like sticky notes with like a couple of words or like remember to say that thing, like that can help. I even do it for the podcast sometimes. Like
Oh yeah.
it'll help you remember, like, oh, don't forget to talk about this thing or mention like maybe you're gonna share 3 things you love to do on weekends in your city and
Yeah.
like then ask for people's feedback and you write those 3 things down. I mean, it could be that simple, just something to kind of keep you on track. I have an interesting story too
Let's
about
hear it.
not a story. Last week I did Marketing Therapy Thursday and someone said like I noticed that whenever I show my face, I get way more engagement. So not shocking, but she said is can you show your face too much? And I said absolutely not. And the thing is too is typically with so we're talking about like carousel posts. We still post carousel posts, they're fine. They're have a different purpose, right? But when you do show your face and people do know you and you do share a carousel post, it maybe doesn't get quite as much engagement necessarily, but when I say engagement, maybe it gets less views, maybe less people save it, less people comment, less people share it, whatever. But what it does do is they're like, oh, that's coming from Chelsea. So it feels less like robotic graphic and more like just information you're sharing. So your carousel post will get more powerful if you're pairing them with showing your face.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, we've even noticed like we have members who will take like carousel posts that we've given them, but they add like a 10-second video clip to the first slide. So it's them, walking down or walking and sitting down next to their laptop or pouring themselves a cup of coffee or wherever, but they're pairing that with the rest of it and then they're just adding music to the carousel, but they get so much more engagement. Like those are scroll stopping. Is it the vacuum?
Yeah, it's so loud.
Oh, it's fine.
But I feel like I should wait a second.
Oh, I can hear it a little bit, but it's not.
They were like right by the door. I'm like,
I just love nothing more than and maybe this is a good thing to include in the podcast, so just keep this in. When you hear like real life, like I love listening to like really good top podcasters, and I love hearing like their dog bark or like their kid walk in. I'm like, that's just so fun. My husband's been watching, he loves like football cards and like trading stuff. So they'll do like they call them these breaks. Okay. I'm gonna educate you here. So he pulls up his phone and people will like set up their phone, they'll open up all these boxes, you like bid on player, just like this whole thing. Anyway, it cracks me up when he's watching it and I hear like their baby crying in the background. And I think like, what's this grown man doing with all these cards while like go help your wife? Like we'll kind of like just joke about it or whatever.
that's so
But like it
funny.
also humanizes them. It's like, okay, these are real people that we're buying from or like trading cards with or wherever. Like, I don't know. My husband's noticed
It's
it
so
too.
true. That's so true. I also love the sound of the dishwasher. I love the
Yeah.
sound of the dryer. It makes me like, the feeling when like your house is clean and you start the dishwasher and the dryer's going and you're like, what should I do now? Like I just want to like soak up this moment that's not going to last for very long because it's like it's so peaceful and feels just like homey.
Yes, I totally
And
agree.
then you light a candle.
Okay, one of the last things I want to make sure that we mention, and that we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but like thinking about what's scarier than showing up on camera. What's scarier than showing up on camera is not showing up. And not only that, but having people who aren't even as good of an agent as you show up and suddenly get all the business when you're sitting there completely, more than capable. And you know that you bend over backwards for your clients. You know that you can negotiate like nobody else. You know that you can like provide this excellent service, but nobody else knows it because all you're posting is a beautiful graphic with some
Or a
white
beautiful
text
house.
over it. Yes, that's italicized, that says something about, their down payment or equity that no one cares about. Because, and not that no one cares about it, but because when people are on social media, they're not there to learn about equity. They're there to be entertained while they're waiting for their kids to get in the car.
And we will see you next Tuesday.
We will
No,
see you
just
next Tuesday.
kidding. We're not quite done yet, almost. But I just had an agent reach out and she just joined Modern Agent and she said she feels like she's been very stagnant with her sphere. She's like, I really have a good presence or like whatever that means with her sphere. She said, but everyone is kind of like, no one's really ready to move right this second, all the things. And like, that's why the internet exists, right? Like that's like where you continue building your cold audience, which turns warm because you have the social media brand that people can talk about and remember and know and all the things. But it's really like it's not a sign of like you're not doing enough with your sphere, but it could just be a gap in your strategy that you're using, which means it might be time to build a new audience or to continue building who that sphere would be, which would be doing things like getting on camera on Instagram and having other pieces of content that aren't just for your sphere and everyone you know, but that also have the opportunity and ability to reach new people, new eyeballs, that it's going to continue to grow those people that you know in your database. And, I feel like some people will argue like you only need 100 people in your database. And I'm not saying you need thousands, but everyone's situation is different. And
Yeah.
I think if you are attracting the right people because of your social media presence and your personal brand, I don't think it hurts how many people, like, why does it hurt you to get more people in your door? You know what I mean?
Right.
What is your thought on that?
Yeah, I think that you need a small amount of super fans that can't wait to tell people about you. But it never hurts to live rent free in someone's mind, especially online. I mean, that is the newer agents' unfair advantage. I feel like is not even necessarily newer, but like if you are a person who is dedicated to leveraging social media, that's your unfair advantage where you can get in front of thousands of people and be the agent that they think of. Yeah, I don't think that you need a ton. I don't think that you need an email list full of,
Thousands of
12,000.
people.
No,
Yeah.
you really don't. Again, if they're wanting to sign up, sure. But yeah, I agree. I think that you need a small group of people who are like committed to sharing your name with everyone. And those are the people like you almost have to like be good to them. I love, and I've shared this before on the podcast, but like Andy Stanley is a pastor of like this huge church down in I think maybe Georgia. But he said like do for one person what you wish you could do for many. And I know like we've done that before too. Like there are sometimes like we get so many DMs and stuff and we try to respond to everyone. We try to give people like, a lot of time, but we can't always get to everything. We can't always be as thorough as we want. But every once in a while, we'll have someone that we just voice message over and over again because we're like, you know what? Like, I really want you to get this. Like, and I wish I could do this for everyone, but I can't. But like, I want to help someone in the best way that I know how to, And so I think that you have the people that are like super fans in your life. That's what you dedicate a lot of time and energy into those people. But yeah, but you don't need everybody.
Going back to her comment, now that we're talking about this, that her sphere feels stagnant. What I think is maybe the missing piece is that her sphere isn't on her email list either. And this is really sidetracking from face to camera, but who knows? Her sphere may not be moving, but they do have the ability to refer her to people who are. So
Yeah.
maybe showing up on social media in a more powerful way, getting those people on an email list, having people feel like they can connect with you, you're top of mind, you live rent free in their brain. Now they're going to remember to tell their neighbor or their friend or their buddy at the baseball game. Like that's maybe the missing piece that like she came to the right place, right? She came to the right place to be like, I need to fill this gap now that I'm experiencing and solve the issue of feeling like my sphere is stagnant, whether that's
Yeah.
growing a new community and or using your sphere more as like, hey, I want to nurture you and have like stronger relationships with you. And then hopefully that will turn into more referrals for me because I'm serving you.
Right.
So that's another
pairs really
angle.
well. That pairs really well with the episode, would you say 42 about the words that we use as well, because now, of course, moving is a big life change, right? People aren't just going to be like, you know what? I never thought of it that way. I'm going to list my house tomorrow. But if you're the agent in their sphere And I don't know this person, but let's just pretend that she's been like, yeah, the interest rates are really tough right now. They're holding people up, or, the housing prices have increased.
I don't blame you for not moving right now.
Right. But if
Yeah.
she's saying like, I found this really great opportunity for someone to buy this house. I want to help someone buy it so bad because it's such a steal. And you can also like, use this 2-1 buy down. You can also, you know what I mean? Like if you're talking like that, maybe people in your life are like, you know what? I didn't think of it that way. Or maybe they're like, you know what? Like my daughter's going to be looking for a house soon, or whatever it is. Like the way that you talk about your business to your sphere impacts your business. So all of the last like 3 episodes, I feel like really go hand in hand. If you really want to like propel your business forward and make it happen, because all of this, like when I really stop and think about what is the point of this conversation, I think it all boils down to like, what do you want? And that reminds me of the Notebook when he's like, what do you want? She's like, it's not that simple. What do you want? But like there are no wrong answers, by the way. This is not a judgmental question. But do you want a business that gives you a little bit of financial freedom, that provides a couple extra $1,000 here and there to take your family on vacation or whatever? But, you still want to live modestly. That's perfectly fine. But if you are a person who is like, I actually deep down would love to be very wealthy. I would love to have the kind of home that my kids and my grandkids and everyone love to come to. I would love to be able to look at my, daughter and son-in-law who experience some kind of loss and say, go to my vacation home in Florida, take a week. You know what I mean? Like that gave me chills, actually. That's the kind of life I want to live. I know,
just
like
got full body chills.
just to be able to bless people, to be able to look your kids in the eye. Not that you don't, everyone's got to experience some struggles in order to have any kind of character, but like I want my family to grow up not worrying about the other little things. That way they don't have to keep their eyes on themselves, but that they can look outward and look for other people who need help. Like that's what I want. And so when I think about if that's the kind of life I want, getting on video, getting uncomfortable, putting myself out there, like having those conversations, not always having the answers, that's not optional. Like those are the risks I'm going to take to get to the life that I want. And
In
if
fact,
you're feeling that way, yes.
that should be the least scary thing you do. Because like,
Yes.
what is the alternative?
Yeah.
And I just saw this reel, and this is like a fun, light way of looking at it. She just said, like, she asked herself, what if I just shared my life online, and I shared about my new baby, and I shared the things that I love? What if? And she said, I did it for the last year, and I looked a little cringy, and maybe I don't want to watch those videos again, but I now just quit my corporate job and I'm home full time with my baby. Like,
I
oh
mean,
my gosh. Like,
so
because she
cool.
showed her face on video. Like, are you kidding me? And I know maybe you're on the other side and you want to quit your corporate job and do real estate full time. Maybe you want to do what Kayla just said. Maybe you have bigger dreams than anything we're even talking about. But like, it's deeper than getting on video. And that's why like we get like real fired up about this, because we're like, we can't have these excuses. Like, it is holding you back so much from your entire life.
Yeah.
And I think, at church last week, or this whole series actually recently, it's kind of about like, what do you want your legacy to be? And one of the things they told us to do is like take like half hour, an hour, and write down like, when I die, what do I want someone to say about me? Like, what is my legacy? Like, what kind of mom was I? What kind of business owner was I? What kind of person was I? What will people, like, what do I want to be? Like, what do I want legacy to be for like my children, for my family? And like, that's such a powerful exercise, like for you to even do as a mom, as a wife, as a daughter, as a anything. I mean, like, just as a friend, like, what kind of person do you want to have been? And like,
Yeah.
when you write that down, that is such a bigger thing than what you maybe have right this second today, but it can put you in the right direction to never ever make a silly excuse again. Like, I don't like how I sound on camera. Like,
Yeah.
that's so little when you think about something so big like your legacy.
100%. Yeah. So if you are in the latter group of that, and again, there's nothing wrong with either way. Like there's no wrong answers. Everyone's got different callings, different convictions. But if you're in that latter group, Camp Mountain Agent is 100% for you. And it's free. And you can just join and you can really figure out how to like hone in your brand, learn what kinds of things to talk about, even learning like what colors to wear, where to film, like all the things that make your brand your brand. Like by the end of that week, you're going to walk away and be like, I got it. I'm ready to roll. Like, let's make this happen. Let's make this whole wild thing that gives me chills a reality.
And that is just, I don't know if he said this, it's for members and non-members. It's for anyone. It's free. It's crazy. I don't know what we're doing. Just kidding. It's Andy Stanley. Do for one what you wish you could do for many. And this is our way of trying to kind of do that.
Yes, exactly. This was so good. I love this. And I can't wait to see everyone's faces on camera because I just know all of a sudden we're going to see all these agents.
I know. I can't wait to see you guys. We're going to get to know so much more about you.
I love it so much.
All right. Well, have a happy Halloween.
Yeah.
And we will see you at camp, hopefully.
Yes, sounds great.
All right. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye. I'm so glad we got to hang out today. If you're as sad as I am that our time is up, I've got good news. There are a couple of different ways we can keep the conversation going.
First, follow us on Instagram at Modern Agent Marketing Girls and introduce yourself in the DMs. Also, we always have a free Modern Agent resource available, so check out today's show notes for the goods.
And finally, hang out with other go-to real estate girls like you and finally create a marketing plan that works when you join Modern Agent Social Club. All the details are in today's notes.
XOXO, the Marketing Girls.